Sir, sharing event, sir.
చూడండి మేడం. ఇచ్చిన చూడండి మేడం.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon, one and all, ma. Our expected age was sir Rajendra Kumar Reddy sir garu. Good afternoon, sir. Our convener sir Somsekhar sir garu. Good afternoon, sir. Once again, my dear students, good afternoon to all, ma. Okay. Today I am going to
వాయిస్ నాకు రాలేదు.
sir, కనిపిస్తుందా సార్? సార్ ఇలియా సార్ కనిపిస్తుందా సార్?
కనిపిస్తాను మేడం.
సరే సార్. Okay, today I am going to discuss about the animal tissues, ma. Okay, today I am going to explain the following new topics: introduction of animal tissue, definition of animal tissue, structure of animal tissue, uses of animal tissue, types of animal tissue. Okay, next, all of you see in this slide, this is the diagram of the animal tissue, ma. Already in previous class we learned about the plant tissue. Plant tissue, kinds of plant tissue, what is the importance of the plant tissue, we discussed in the previous classes also. Today I am going to, in the introducing of the new topic is animal tissue. Okay, next, what is the introduction of the animal tissue? I am going to explain the introduction of the animal tissue. See, ma, already the tissues also, so many cells are made up of tissue. So many cells are made up of tissue. We know it is the one of the 4 general classes of the animal tissue. Animal tissue, one kind of the living tissue. The animal tissues also, it 4 classes are there. It has a 4 classes: epithelial, connective, muscle, and nervous tissue. These are 4 kinds of the tissues are there in animal tissue. Okay, the animal tissue is one that is the what is the functioning of this animal tissue is connects, support, binds, separates other tissues or organs of the body. All living organisms also, it has so many organs are there. Internally, so many organs are there. Every organs it maintains of the tissues. It connects, supports, binds, and separates. These are all the main functioning of this animal inside of the tissues. Inside of the one kind of the animal tissue. Okay, next, it is the most diverse tissue and it is found throughout the body. You know, in our body also so many organs are there. Okay, in our body also so many cells are there. So many cells it made up of one tissue. Tissues is it gives as connects, support, protection, structure, binds, separates. These are all maintains of these tissues. Is called as one kind of animal tissue. Already we know tissues are 2 types: plant tissue and animal tissue. Plant tissue is over. Today I am going to discuss about the one new topic is animal tissue. This is the epithelial tissue and connective tissue as a relatively little intimate connect between the cells that make up the part of structure. The one cell, the structure is maintained. The cell structure is maintains of it through the it helps to tissues. It helps the tissues. The tissues is the one kind of animal tissue. Can you able to understand, ma, in this slide? This is the introduction of the animal tissue. Animal tissue is one kind of living tissue and animal tissue as a 4 types are there: epithelial, connective, muscle, nervous tissue. Every tissue is it helps to connects, supports, binds, separates, some in the structure. These are all maintained of the internal organs of the body. We know every living organisms inside so many organs are there. Every organ during the activities are there. Okay. Next, these are also the epithelial tissue and connective tissue. Everyone, the tissues also it is relatively interconnecting between the all the during the activities. It helps the animal tissue. Can you able to understand, ma? Okay. Shall we move to next slide? What is the main definition of animal tissue? The animal tissue, a group of collection, the group of collection of similar cells. We know so many cells, group of cells are made up of tissue. The group or collection of similar cells performing or help to perform same function and arise from the same origin are called tissues. We know so many cells are there in our body. All living organisms inside so many cells are there. The cells also made up of tissue. The tissues is performing. It's performing and tissues are it give the functioning is it gives some structure of the body. Ma, mute ourselves, ma. Mute ourselves, Bhavita, Likita. Next, the tissues are different types of depending on the functioning of the organism. Every organism it functioning, it depending on these tissues.
మేడం సార్ వస్తున్నాడు మేడం విక్టోరియా మేడం మేడం హలో మేడం వస్తున్నాడు మేడం మీ వాయిస్ రాలా మేడం మేడం నెట్ డిస్కనెక్ట్ అయింది కొంచెంసేపు లైన్లో ఉన్నట్లే
ఈరోజు ఇలియాస్ హలో ఇలియాస్ ఏం కలికిరి వాళ్ళు జాయిన్ కాలేదా? హలో
ఉన్నారు సార్ ఒకరిద్దరు ఉన్నారు
ఏమంత తక్కువ అయినారు ఈ రోజు 9th క్లాస్ కదా క్లాసు తెలియదా వాళ్ళకి లింక్
పెట్టినాను సార్ లింక్ పెట్టినాను సార్
మరి ఏమి 2-3 ఎందుకు జాయిన్ అయినారు? రాయలపేట వాళ్ళు బాగా జాయిన్ అయినారు 12 మంది దాకా
మేడం ఇది డిస్కనెక్ట్ అయింది మళ్ళీ జాయిన్ కావండి
సరేలే చెప్పండి ఇంకా ఏం చేస్తాము వాళ్ళు జాయిన్ కాకపోతే వాళ్ళని క్లాస్ చెప్పుకోలేకుండా ఉండాలి కానీ చెప్పండి మొదలు పెట్టుకోండి ఇంకా టైం అవుతుంది కదా
ఓకే సార్ మేడం జాయిన్ కావండి మేడం కరెక్ట్గా మీరు ఏది ఒక తప్పైంది అర్థం చేశారు
Okay, the main what is the definition of the animal tissue, ma? A group or collection of similar cells performing or help to perform same function arise from the same origin are called tissues. We know so many cells made up of tissue. Tissue is mainly It is support to maintain of the structure. That means the protection, binding. These are all in this slide that gives us the tissues. This slide also the functioning of the performing is the arising the same original called as tissues. Okay, the tissues are different types of depending on the functions of the organism. There are mainly two categories are there. You know already the plant tissues and animal tissue. Already the plant tissue is over. Today I am going to discuss about the animal tissues. Okay. Understand this slide? Shall I move to next slide? Okay. See, what is the structure and function of animal tissues? What is the structure? We know the mainly anatomy or physiology. This is the main structures, the study of structure and the study of function. The function and the structures is study of the in this animal tissue, all the anatomy or physiology. This is the study of this like that, ma. The study of the structure is called, you say the anatomy. The study of functions, it say like that in the physiology. Is okay. The animals consist of hierarchy of the organization. The organization, the maintenance of the organization, the tissues also, the internal body, so many organs are there. It is also, it maintains, it performs, it helps to, it organized by these tissues, through the tissues. Okay, ma? The tissues are an interpreted group of similar cells that perform common function, ma. Interpreted. Everyone in this internal body already so many organs it related between the each and each others. ఈ లోపల ఉన్నటువంటి శరీర భాగాలలో నీకు ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ని ఒక కణానికి మరొక కణానికి అది ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ నీకు కరెక్ట్ గా ఫంక్షనింగ్ చేయాలంటే the tissues also the role, the main role, it acts from the main role. It acts from the main role. అది ప్రముఖ పాత్ర వహిస్తూ ఉంటుంది. The tissues also it gives us it perform it group of the similar cells, ma, but integrated. Okay. Next, the mainly the organs perform specific task and consist of two or more cells. In organs, it made up of in our body, just like it consists of two or more tissues. ఒక ఆర్గాన్ ఏర్పడాలి అంటే నీ యొక్క ఇంధనంలో ఒక భాగము ఏర్పడాలి అంటే టిష్యూ టూ ఆర్ మోర్ టిష్యూస్ జస్ట్ లైక్ ఇట్ కన్సిస్ట్ ఆఫ్ టూ ఆర్ మోర్ టిష్యూస్. రెండు లేక అంతకన్నా ఎక్కువ టిష్యూలు అవసరపడతాయి. నెక్స్ట్ సేమ్ లైక్ దట్ ద ఆర్గన్ సిస్టమ్ ద కన్సిస్ట్ ఆఫ్ మల్టిపుల్ టిష్యూస్. ఒక ఆర్గాన్ సిస్టమే నీకు ఏర్పడాలి అంటే ఇట్ ఓన్ ద త్రూ ఆల్ ద ఆర్గాన్ సిస్టమ్స్ ద కన్సిస్ట్ ఆఫ్ మల్టిపుల్ ఆర్గాన్స్. మల్టిపుల్ ఆర్గాన్స్. ఓకే. Can you able to understand in this slide, ma? Shall I move to next slide? Okay. The mainly what are the uses of animal tissue? We know animal tissue is like as one of the living tissue and is more of the examples. Most of the examples are there. One the human beings also one kind of the example. This like that the internal animal tissue, the growing of the viruses also. So many viruses entering in our body that the tissues also it entire and growing to viruses and anything like that. Any microorganisms also. This require living host cells. But the tissues also require living host cells. Host cells means depending. ఆధారపడి ఉండేటువంటి cells. That means it gives some host cells. It requires the living host cells. నీకు అది నివసించటానికి నీకు అది ఏం చేస్తుంది? హోస్ట్ ఇస్తుంది, నీకు ఆధారాన్ని ఇస్తుంది అక్కడ. ఓకే. నెక్స్ట్ మేకింగ్ మోనోక్లోనల్ యాంటీబాడీస్ యూజ్డ్ ఫర్ డయాగ్నోసిస్ అండ్ రీసెర్చ్. What is the antibodies in our body? The blood cells also it has antibodies is there ma. ఈ శరీరంలో రక్త కణాలలో యాంటీబాడీస్ ఉంటుంది. ఎనీథింగ్ దట్ మీన్స్ ఇట్ అఫెక్టెడ్ ఫ్రమ్ ఎనీ ఇల్నెస్ బట్ ఇట్ ఫైట్ ద యాంటీబాడీస్ అండ్ యాంటీజెన్స్. నీ రక్తంలో ఉన్నటువంటి యాంటీబాడీస్ యాంటీజెన్స్ అక్కడ ఏమవుతుంది ఫైట్ చేస్తుంది బట్ ఇట్ గివ్ ద రెసిస్టెన్స్ పవర్ టు అస్. ఓకే, it use it for diagnosis or research, anything like the tissues also it diagnose of the antibodies, it helps to it fight to what is the affected from in our illness but in gives us protection of ourselves. The antibodies is act from the role from this blood cells. Tissues also it helps to monoclonal antibodies used for diagnosis and researches also. Okay, next the animal tissue studying basic cell processes. The cell processes it's studying is called as animal tissue. Okay, next genetic modification and analysis. We know ma internal body so many that means glands, the hormones, it maintain of tissues. One kind of animal tissue also. The animal tissues inside the maintenance of the genetic modifications. Okay. Can you able to understand in this slide, ma? Shall I move to next slide? Okay. The mainly what are the classification of the animal tissues? How many kinds of the animal tissues are there? We know human body is composed of 4 basic tissues are there. Human body is one kind of the animal living or tissue is now. That is the animal tissue also 4 types are there. Animal tissue has a 4 types are there. Epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, nervous tissue. How many kinds of animal tissues are there?
4 types. 4 types, ma'am.
4 kinds, ma'am.
What are they? Epithelial tissue,
Epithelial tissue, connective, muscular,
Connecting tissue, muscular tissue,
and nervous tissue.
nervous tissue.
Are there? Muscles are there. Mute ourselves. Mute ourselves. Okay. I give some explanation of the 4 types of animal tissue. First of all, the epithelial tissue is covers the outside of the body. Outside of the body, it covers the epithelial tissue, ma. And the lines, organs, and cavities within the body. In our lines, that means lines. గీతలు ఉంటాయి కదా, that lines, organs, cavities within our body. Cavity that means, for example, stomach, rib cage, also cavities ma. Instead of cavities, oka kuharam laantidi, oka kuharam. But epithelial tissue is covers the outside of the body and lines, organs, and cavities within the body. Within the body. Nee shariram lopale adi untundi. Next, what is the connective tissue? The connective tissue is the functions mainly to bind and support other tissue. Bind ma, adem chestundi binding. Just like one bed like that. The bind and support other tissues. Okay. Next, nervous tissue. The nervous tissue is a sense stimuli and transmit signals from the one part of animal to another. We know nervous tissue is it helps us to some give the signals. It from attack any affected from this like that. Any problem you were affected from this, but the nervous tissues is given the immediately of the signals. I give some one example. You just like walk on the road and in front of fall on the one throat. Just like you can walk on the road in safely, ma? No way. Fall on the road, we see visible, but immediately withdraw your leg. Why? Because the prone is picked in our skin, but some pain, you feel some pain. రోడ్డు పైన ఒక ముళ్ళు పడినప్పుడు నువ్వు నడుచుకుంటూ వెళ్ళిపోతావా? లేదు. చూసిన వెంటనే ఏం చేస్తావు? ఇమ్మీడియట్లీ విత్ డ్రైవర్ లెగ్, వెంటనే వేలక కాలు వెనక తీస్తావు. But the brain, it gives some signal, but it collection of the nervous tissues, it gives some signals through the inner brain. సిగ్నల్ ఏం చేస్తుంది? అది ముళ్ళు నాకు గుచ్చుకుంటుంది, అది నాకు పెయిన్ ఉంటుంది, నువ్వు ఇమిడియట్ గా నీ యొక్క లెగ్ ని విత్ డ్రా చేస్తావు, వెనకకు తీసేస్తావు. దట్ ఈస్ ఇమిడియట్లీ ద గివ్ ద రెస్పాన్స్, ద స్టిమ్యులస్ అండ్ రెస్పాన్స్ ఇట్ మెయింటైన్ ఆఫ్ ఇన్ అవర్ నర్వస్ టిష్యూ. Okay, ma? Can you able to understand? Next, the muscle tissue. Muscle tissue is some movement, ma. It is some movements. Just like it composed of long cells called muscle fibers that are capable of contracting when stimulated by nerve impulses. Impulses means instead of the nerve cells, it just like it compose a long cell, but called muscle fibers. Inside muscle fibers are there, ma. Inside so many muscle fibers are there. Every muscle, every nerve cell, it collect the information through the brain. Okay, these are all the mainly 4 types of the animal tissues are there. How many animal tissues are there, ma? 4 types. What are they, ma?
Epithelial tissue, connective tissue, nervous tissue, muscle tissue.
Muscular tissue and muscular tissue, ma'am.
Muscle tissue. These are all 4 types of the
Tissue, ma'am.
are there. 4 types of the animal tissues are there. Everyone during the activities send their tissues and send them in your internal body. Okay, ma? Can you able to understand, ma?
Yes, ma'am.
I give
Yes, ma'am.
explanation of the each one of the tissue, ma. Each one of the animal tissue, I give more explanation. Okay. Shall I move to next slide, ma? Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Epithelial
Just like epithelial cells from that is first tissue is the epithelial tissue. Wait, ma. I share one video. Okay, ma. I share one video also. I share one video. Just like
Okay, ma'am.
I would try to like this. It is going on. Okay, ma. Next. Okay, I will
Inga
share.
kada.
Okay, ma. And the time I will share. Okay, ma. Mute ourselves. Mute ourselves. Bhavita, mute. Mute ourselves, Bhavita. Mute yourself, ma. The epithelial cells from what is the main structure of epithelial cells or epithelial tissue? The epithelial tissues packed tightly together and from continuous sheets that line different parts of the body. Mute ourselves. Mute ourselves, ma. Epithelial cells packed tightly together and form continuous sheet. See in this picture also, ma. Continuous bed-like structure. Continuous sheet. Epithelial cells packed tightly together and form continuous sheet that lines different parts of the body. Inside the lines different parts of the body. Okay. Next, what is the main functioning of epithelial tissue? The epithelial tissue, the main functioning is protection, secretion, absorption, and transport. Mainly these functions are through the epithelial tissue. Every internal body also it maintains of this like that protection, secretion, absorption, transport. These are all functioning up through the epithelial tissue. Okay, can you able to understand, ma? What are the examples of the epithelial cells? What are the examples of the epithelial tissue? Inside of the mouth, cheek cell, ma. Inside of the mouth, cheek cell. Line organs like the stomach, ma. Stomach paina lines ఉంటుంది. And next surrounded the outside of the organs and make the outer layer of skin. Outer layer of skin. Just like it has some lines are there, ma. Like that, identify the examples of the epithelial tissue. Okay. Mainly, the epithelial tissue is a form of continuous sheets. It cells pack up very tightly. The cells pack up very tightly, and it is form of continuous sheet. But just like it has some lines, different lines are there. Okay. Next, the epithelial tissue is main functioning is gives us the protection, secretion, absorption, transport. Okay. Next, the epithelial tissue is a main examples are inside of the mouth, cheek cell, line organs, surrounded the outside of the organs, and make the outer layer of the skin. Outer layer of the skin. This is skin mass. Okay. This is the identify the epithelial tissue. Okay. Shall I move to next slide? Can you able to understand in this slide?
Understand, ma'am.
Okay. Epithelial tissue also remaining three types are there. Sorry, three types are there. Epithelial tissue, how many types are there? Three types. What are they? See in this picture also, this is one kind of living organism. This the first type is simple epithelium. Second one is stratified epithelium. Third one is pseudo stratified epithelium. Simple epithelium, stratified epithelium, pseudo stratified epithelium. How many types of epithelium tissues are there?
Three types, ma'am.
Tissues are there. Okay. First one is simple epithelium, stratified epithelium, and pseudo stratified epithelium. Unmute it. Mute ourselves. Mute all of you. Mute ourselves, ma. Okay. The epithelial tissues also three types. The first one is simple epithelium. The simple epithelium, the functioning is made up of single layer of see in this picture, one single layer is there, ma. Simple epithelium. Simple epithelium is made up of single layer of cells. Only single layer of cells. The next stratified epithelium is made up of many layers of cells. Made up of many layers of cells. Okay. Next, pseudo stratified epithelium is made up of single layer of cells but appears stratified. See in this diagram also different pictures are there, ma. Stratified, simple, pseudo stratified. These are all types of epithelium tissue. Can you able to understand in this slide, ma? Epithelium tissue also three types are there: simple epithelium, stratified epithelium, pseudo stratified epithelium. The simple epithelium is made up of single layer cell. Stratified epithelium is made up of many layers of cell. Pseudo stratified epithelium is made up of a single layer of cell but appears stratified. These are all types of epithelium tissue. Can you able to understand in this slide, ma? Can I move to next slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma. The second type of animal tissue is connective tissue. Second type of animal tissue is connective tissue. The connective tissue is the most abundant and widely distributed of primary tissues. The connective tissue is the most abundant, widely distributed in the primary tissues. The connective tissue also, it form of primary tissues and it is distributing of all this in your internal body. Okay, what is the major functioning of connective tissue is binding and support, protecting, insulating, storing reserve fuel, and transporting substances. These are all the functions of the connective tissue. What is the major functions of the connective tissue, ma'am? Binding and support, protecting, insulating, storing reserve fuel, and transporting substances like that food also. Food also it is transport to the all through the all parts of the body. It helps to the connective tissue. This tissue is also located from in our internal body. Okay. Next, connective tissue also remaining 4 types are there, ma'am. Connective tissue proper, cartilage, bone, blood. These are all 4 types of the connective tissues are there. We know these are all every tissues remaining so many types are there, ma'am. Keep on your mind, keep on your minds. Don't confusion. Animal tissues are types are there. Remaining epithelial tissues also types are there. Remaining connective tissues also types are there. Remaining tissues also types are there. But animal tissues also 4 types are there. Epithelial, connective, muscle and nervous. These are 4 types are there. The first epithelial tissue is also one kind of continuous sheet. It forms a continuous sheet. Is also the epithelial tissues also types are there. 3 types: simple, stratified, pseudo-stratified. These are also types of the epithelial tissue. In this slide, the second type of animal tissue is called as connective tissue. The connective tissue is the most abundant.
మీకు ఫోన్ కావాలా పోయాక నేను వస్తాను
Babita, mute ourselves. Babita, mute ourselves. Pavitra, also mute ourselves. All of you mute ourselves, ma. Next, connective tissue also 4 types are there.
నేను వీడియో ఆఫ్ చేసిన కదా
Disturbance are there, ma'am. Mute ourselves, all of you. Mute ourselves, all of you. Babita also mute ourselves. All of you mute ourselves. Don't disturb in this class, please, ma. Babita, mute ourselves, ma. All of you mute ourselves. Don't unmute. Okay. The connective tissue also remaining 4 types are there. Connective tissue proper, cartilage, bone,
blood.
These are all 4 types connective tissue. Okay. Can you able to understand in this slide, ma? Shall I move to next slide?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. The third type of animal tissue is nervous tissue. Third type animal tissue is called as nervous tissue. The nervous tissue is made up of neurons. See in this diagram also, ma. This is a neuron diagram, ma. Neuron.
Yes, ma'am.
Made up of neurons. In the nervous system, inside so many neurons are there. Every neuron, it collects the information through the brain. Every neuron, it gives the signals of the any affected from the ourselves, but it gives some signals. It reacts, stimulus and response. It maintains of the neurons inside. That means through the nervous. Through the nervous. Okay. This size and shape of neurons is different. In different parts of the nervous systems are there internal in our body. Okay. In the nervous tissue also it perform a same function. It transmit of the information through the all parts of the body. Any that means the nervous tissues also it gives us of the signals. It gives us of the messages